This is Hollywood. Matías Bombal with you. Warner Brothers brings us The Water Diviner, actor Russell Crowe's directorial debut that was inspired by a footnote in history when, in 1915, a man traveled to Turkey from Australia to find his missing sons following the Battle of Gallipoli. Nothing is known of who the real man was or what even happened to him, but the screenwriters Andrew Knight and Andrew Anastasios found that too good of an idea not to develop, and so they did. This movie is the result. At this point, I usually give you an idea of the plot, but Russell Crowe spoke to the MAB studios and outlined it perfectly.
The Water Diviner is the story of Joshua Connor. He's an Australian farmer. He has 3 sons, and they go off to war, and they don't come back. A grief of that situation drives his wife to craziness, to madness. And she ends up killing herself. So Joshua is left with nothing. He makes a graveside promise to his wife that he'll go to the battlefields and try his best to retrieve the bones of his sons and bring them home and bury them next to her. Now that sounds like the journey of a madman. But other things come up, other things happen, people that he meets, situations arise, and information that comes to him during the course of that journey. Well, it implies that maybe his sons didn't die on the day he thought that they did. And that sets off a story which is at once sort of life-affirming and beautiful. And Joshua's life changes completely from the direction that he thought he was in at the beginning of the story.
Thank you, Mr. Crowe. There you have the storyline. This is not the first major film to cover an aspect of this famous history, the first being Peter Weir's film Gallipoli of 1981 with a very young Mel Gibson, which I recommend for repeated viewing at this time. Here's a scene from The Water Diviner that takes place once Connor, the part played by Crowe, reaches the shores of Gallipoli.
Not swimming?
No. What are you doing with your farmer?
There's a supply ship back to Constantinople in 2 days.
Maybe we could help him until then.
You know what the chances of finding his boys are.
We have the day they were killed. I know the area.
Yeah, we both know it, but why change everything for one father who can't stay put?
Because he is the only father who came looking.
Sergeant! Change of plan.
The last actor you saw there in the clip with the expressive face and mustache was Yilmaz Erdogan, who is remarkable in this movie, along with the first role of substance that I've seen Australian actor Jake Courtney of the Insurgent series of movies have in any picture. He was the officer that got up at the end of the clip and said, "Change of plan." As the story develops, it is Yilmaz Erdogan that brings a ray of hope to Connor.
I wanted to apologize to you for my outburst.
There is a Persian saying, "May you outlive your children." It sounds like a blessing, but it is the worst curse one can place on the head of a man. I have this list sent from Istanbul. This is your family name.
What is this list?
If this is your son, he was taken prisoner. He did not die here. He left Çanakkale alive.
A new adventure begins to see if, in fact, he is still living. This movie has much going for it, including beautiful photography designed by Andrew Lesney, a good musical score, and something I've not enjoyed in a movie since my childhood days, watching classics like Gunga Din, a robust sense of adventure. I really did feel like I was watching the kind of classic adventure tale that Hollywood has not made in decades, and I really love that about this movie. The remarkable use of color was splendid, and you will not be disappointed in the value of this production. The telling of the story suffers occasionally from a little repetition in flashback sequences that make it sometimes hard to follow and make the movie seem just a little too long, and it is 111 minutes in overall running time. However, this is old-fashioned movie classic storytelling, and you really do go back to the time and place with the era recreated completely believably. The Motion Picture Association of America has given this an R rating. This is your pal, Matías Bombal, bidding you a fond farewell.